Hello everyone. I'm sorry for the delay. Very good evening. Just a minute. Let me start. Okay, fine. So what we discussed in the last session, let me check. Okay. So we discussed about so tasks, right? So how to work with a task, how to create a task, and how to implement dependency. Right? These are the things what we have so discussed. So related to task. Now we will discuss about so capture, change data capture, or we will call it as a streams. Okay. So now let's see what is the actual
Did we
requirement.
already discussed it? CDC,
Is it done?
cloning.
Yeah, thank you. Just a minute. Okay, cloning also done, right? Thank you, guys. Okay. So what about data masking, roles and creations,
No, we
That is
haven't
not
done.
right?
done.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we'll see. So how to work with a data masking. So before data masking, so here, so we will discuss about main importantly roles creation, roles creation, and how to assign these roles to the users. Okay, and how to give the permission to these roles to specific database or schema or table, whatever it may. Generally, so when you observe here in our Snowflake, so when you created a trial account, yeah, when we create a trial account, observe this, these are the roles, right? All these roles already it has been created by Snowflake. So we didn't created these things, right? All these things is created by Snowflake now. So these are the roles which is available here. So now, so let's come to this one. Here, suppose if you create a role, generally in organization, in one account, you may have a number of persons working. Each and every person will have username and then password. So they will have a different roles assigned will be there. So here in trial account, you can able to see all the roles, right? But in organization, you cannot see all these roles. For example, you are a developer. In this switch, so roles, you can see only developer. If you assign to like a testing purpose, and then so they will give the role called the test role or user role, right? The like that you may see the roles. Okay, and these roles, so it will be assigned to the specific user. So if the role is assigned to the user, then only they can able to work with that particular role. Okay, and coming to once the role assigned, that role, so what are the accesses they are having? That is nothing but a, so when it is coming to the so table, database or schema. So these things, so we'll see that. So generally these are the access rights, role based access rights, and so permissions. Okay, so now let's see how to create a roles, and then how you can able to so assign this to the specific user. Different roles we will create. Once the roles is created, so once the roles is having the permission to the specific tables or specific database and specific warehouse, then we will see how to work with a data masking. Okay, so we are going to discuss about the roles creation first. Now let's come to the roles creation. Okay, what we'll do is we will create some roles here. We are in class backup. Okay, let's connect it to class. Now we are in class and then public schema. Now let's create a role. Now we are creating a role. the role has been created. So once the role is created, okay, see this one. Can we able to see that specific roles here? See this one? No, right? Still, these roles created, so it's not assigned to this particular account admin, right? We didn't create, we created, but it's not assigned to this. So particular user, sorry, not account admin, particular user, Snowflake 5 user. Okay. So now, so once created, let's see. So we'll create a table and then we will like give the access to this table. Now we are creating a table, employees information. Now we will insert some data into this. Now this is account admin role, Snowflake 5. So user, so we have logged in with account admin role. This is having by default all the permissions, right? No need to give specific permission to access any data here, any table here. Now if you observe employees information, you can able to see the data. So with the account admin role here, okay, in this particular user. Suppose if other user want to access, what you have to do is you need to give the grant access to the specific table for these roles which you have created. Otherwise, they cannot able to access. If you give a grant permission, so then only they can able to access. These are all are the restrictions of that creations. Now let's come to this. What you have to do is, so you need to create grant permissions. Grant select on. Come here. Grant select on table employee info. This is the table to the role analyst, business and developer. We created three roles. One is analyst role, one is business, another one is a developer. We have these three roles. For these three roles, we have given a grant permissions. Grant select on table. This is the table name to the role analyst. This one to the role business. This one to the role developer, right? For all the tables, so we are giving grant select access. So this one select access, it means they can able to see the data. They can able to see the data. Okay, this is fine. But these roles has to be assigned to this user. If you observe, for this user, if you observe, we cannot able to see that, right? Now we have to assign these roles to this particular user. Then only, so this user can able to utilize these roles. Utilize these roles. For that, what you need to do is, you need to again, you need to grant role to the specific user. Now observe this grant role to the user. What is the user here? Snowflake 5. This is the user. Let's come here. All the roles we're assigning to this particular user. Then this user can able to access. So Snowflake 5 is the user. We have given the, so grant access to this specific user. Now if you check here, switch role. Okay, let me refresh it here. Now observe this. What we can see. Can we able to see the roles? Analyst, business, developer. Yes, we can able to see the roles. Now, so when you are coming to any specific role, suppose is it a analyst or business or developer, whatever it may be, these roles should have access to warehouse. Then only they can able to access the warehouse. Otherwise, it is not possible. These roles should have access to database and table and schema. right? So then only so we can able to do that. So then these roles can able to access this database and then warehouse and schema. Otherwise, it is not possible. Okay. Now let's come to that. So how to use that? Grant usage. Observe this. Grant usage on warehouse. This is the warehouse, compute warehouse to the role business. Generally, so we'll have a one warehouse here, right? We will see how to create a multiple warehouses. For all the developers, they will assign to one specific warehouse. One specific warehouse. For all the testers, so they will assign one another warehouse. For all data load options, they will assign another warehouse. So these all the things they can able to implement. Okay. So now let's observe this here. So this grant so usage to warehouse is done. Now the same way this users sorry these roles has to be accessed by so these roles can be accessed to database. It should have permission to access the database and then schema. The table already we have given. Table we have given. Sorry. Here. Let's come to this. What we'll do? Grant usage on. Observe this. This is for database and schema. Now this is for the database. What is the database here? Class, right? Class is our database. And usage database. So this done, right? Then, so database access we have given. Then what is pending? Schema. So which schema we are in? Public. So use public to public. What we have done now? So what are the steps we have done? So till now, so we created a steps of this. We created a roles. That is the first step. Then, so we have so created a table and then inserted the data into the table. For that table, we have given a grant select access to the roles, right? Grant select access. So table to table. So once it is done, then what is the so next step what we have done? First this one, then grant. So this particular thing, this particular roles, this roles has to be accessed by user. User. Assign this role to the user, right? Assign this role to user. Once you assign the role to the user, then we need to give grant access to the database warehouse, right? Warehouse. Then need to give grant access to database and schema, right? These are the things what we have done. So once you given this, then only so you can able to so access these roles, whatever the roles you have created, these roles so by the specific user, which user you have assigned. So now this users is available, right? This users is available. Now let's observe this. First, let's check the data. So when you check the data by using account admin role previously, we can able to see the data, right? So let's come to this. This is the table name which we created. This is the table name. Now observe this. See this one. You can able to see the data here, right? Now change the role to here. Change the role to specific role which we have created. It can be a business, or it can be an analyst, or it can be a developer. Now observe this. Use role, let's say business. 11 role has been changed. This role has been changed. When it is changed, now with this particular, now this is the role, right? Business is the role. So with the Snowflake 5 user, we can able to access the business role. Now when you run this, see this one, what it is telling. It is telling that employees info does not exit, exist or not authorized. Let's connect to the warehouse. Okay, we didn't given the warehouse. Just a minute. Let me connect it to change back to the account admin. Let me execute this one. Warehouse is done. Now let's connect it to connect back to business. Now see this one. So we didn't execute it, it seems. Okay, now it's connected to warehouse. Now let's check the data. Now we are in business, and this business can able to use this particular warehouse, class and public, create an analyst. We given the access to the user. We given access to the warehouse, database, class database, schema. Let's come to this one. Table name is same. Okay, see this one. So we cannot able to see. Let's execute this. Connected to admin role. Let's execute one more time. Now before that, I think all the permissions we have given. Let's see. Business. Now they can able to see the employees information, right? In the class and then public. Now let's check the data. Observe this. We can able to see the data, right? If you change the role to, for example, analyst, use role analyst, and this is analyst role. Now if you check the data, they can able to see, and then use role to developer, sorry, change role to developer. Now observe this, change the role to the developer, and then let's observe this. Now this one, we can able to see the data. Now if you observe one thing here, see this one, every role when you logged in, we can able to see the data here, right? It means we can able to see employees information related to joining date, employee ID, department number, and then salary, manager ID. All these things we can able to see that, right? But so now, so what is our intention is, when developer user, when the developer is using this developer role, with the developer role, if you log in, developer should not see employee salary information, employees department information. So this is nothing but data masking. So like when you are typing a password, we cannot able to see that, right? That is masking. So here also in a table, in a Snowflake introduced, so the column level data masking. In column level, we can able to hide that information. We can hide this column level information. Let's observe this here. So department number they can able to see, and then salary. So when you will go for the data masking, any personal identifiable information is available in a table, then the user will ask. So then so they don't want to display this information for the developers. I don't want to display this information for the this specific analyst role or some other roles. In that particular situation, what you have to do, we need to apply data masking. So now let's observe this. So what is the personal identifiable information? We used to call PIA information. So now observe this one, like any person account number, address, vehicle number, birth date, biometric information, social security number. So and then like websites information, mobile, email, personal data, health related information. All these things are personal identifiable information, isn't it? Is this particular data, if it is available in the table, the user will may ask, so I don't want to display this information to everyone. I want to restrict. I want to restrict. Then data masking will come into the picture. So we can mask so specific columns. So based on requirement. So when you don't want to, so display the details. So now let's come here. So how we can able to do is come to this. Let's observe. Control C. Now what we have to do is, sorry, this one is done. We will create a masking policy. Observe this one. This is the thing what you need to do. To apply masking policy, so before that, let me come here. What you need to do is when you are creating data masking policy, first you need to create a masking masking policy. Once you created masking policy, this policy has to be applied on column in a table. That's what we need to do. We need to apply data masking. When you are applying data masking, we have to so apply this to the specific roles. Specific roles when you are creating data masking, and when you are applying, this policy has to be the applied for the columns in a table. So when that's why, so we created different roles here. So to so execute this data masking policy, we are going to create a so specific different masking policy for the different roles. Once it is done, then we can apply that masking policy on a different tables. Now let's observe this how we can able to do that. Now first, let's create a masking policy here. And always remember, when you are creating data masking policy, you have to be in account admin role or security admin role. Only these two roles only can able to create account admin, security admin. Now let's change it to account admin, account admin. Now we are in account admin role, right? Now let's create a masking policy. This one, let's copy properly. Observe this one. Create or replace masking policy, policy name, masking number. What is this? Masking number. What we are telling as value. If the value is number, then return a number. We have to create separately for the numbers. We have to create separately for the strings. Okay, because when it is a number, it will return a number. If it is number and then if you are returning string, then it will throw error. That's why separate for numbers, separate masking policy for numbers, and then separate masking policy for the strings. Now, what we are doing here, we are creating a masking policy. This masking name, it's up to us. We can give any name here. Once we created this policy name, observe this, the value we are applying to number and then return number. And at the same time, when the case, when the current role, observe this, when your current role in business or account admin, business role or account admin role, your current role means which role you have, so you are working with that. See this one, your current role is account admin here, your current role is business or account admin, then display the same value. Otherwise, whatever the value is available in the uh, column, otherwise, so display this particular thing. Okay, this is for the numbers. We are applying data masking policy. Now let's create, we are creating masking policy. Now we created the same way. So for another thing, for the strings, create masking policy. So for the strings, as, so this is a string, and return, so string. So when, so case role, current role in business, developer, account admin, display the value, display the value. Business if they are a business, or if they are a developer, or if they are a, so account admin, then display the value. Otherwise, display the stars. So whom we had didn't given, so for the analyst we didn't given access for the strings, this one, right? String data masking policy. Now we have basically two policies. One is for the numbers, another one is a string. Now, once we created this masking policy, then what we have to do? Then we need to apply this masking policy for the column in a table. To do that, what you have to do is, let's come here, alter table. So this alter table, if exist, employee info. This is the syntax, employee info. This is the table, employee info table. On this particular table, we are applying modify column salary. See this one, for the salary, set masking policy, masking numbers. We are applying this masking numbers policy for this salary column for this particular table. That is the meaning of this. We are applying this masking numbers policy. Masking numbers, what you have, it is it contains this business and account admin only display the value. Otherwise, don't display the value. That is the so meaning of this one. So now masking policy. So let's up this one. Let's apply this. Now masking policy applied. So this is for a salary, right? What about the department? So let's come to department also. We are going to apply it for the department also. Now let's observe this. We have applied the department. Masking strings, we are applying on department column for this particular table. Now observe this one. Sorry. When you run this, you can able to that. Okay. So done. Now let's refresh it here once, and let's connect it to different rows, and then let's check the data here. Now observe this. Select star from employees info. Okay, this is account admin role, right? You can able to see that. Now let me come here. Let me change the role and then select the data here. Generally, these things. So it's like kind of admin related activities. But in Snowflake, so we will not have much admin related activities like so installing configuration, updating the patches, taking a backup, and then all these things is so not available, like creating a partitions and creating a indexes. These tasks will not be there for any admin. So who is like the working as a Snowflake developer, they will only take care of like these related admin kind of actors, like creating a roles and then creating a users permissions, applying this and then applying this data masking policies. So all these things we will take care. Now let's observe this. Use role developer. Let's come to the role. Now we are in a role of developer. See this one. Now we developer role. Now let's check the data here. Employees info. When you check the data, what you can see this one, the data has been hidden, right? It means whatever the masking policy, masking you applied for this particular column, right? See this one, you can able to see that information. Now let's change the role to analyst. What happened? Statement executed. Now let's come here. See this one, what you observed, department and salary, both are hidden, right? Both the things are hidden, so you cannot able to see that department information, salary information, right? Now let's come to this one again. So let's come to change the role to, we have another role called business, right? Business role. Now we are changing the role to business. Business. Now we are in a business role. Now let's check the data. Observe this one. Business is having, so both the, so access for department also we have access, for salary also we have access, right? So now, so all these things what we have done here, so we created the different masking policies and then we applied this masking policy for the specific column and a specific table. Once it is applied, so every person cannot able to see the data based on the masking policies only, they can able to see the data. Here if you observe for the business, when you created masking policy, we have given permission to see the data for business, here also for the business person, and then default, so by account admin default anyway you will have, right? Account admin will have the access. Now we are not giving any restriction to the account admin. Now observe this one for developer, what we have done. So for developer, so they should not see the, so values, so for this, so for the department, so so this one, so they can able to see, so here they cannot able to see the salaries. Now, so if you observe, right, developer, observe one more time, developer role, now it will be changed to the developer role, and then you can able to see the data. Now one thing, okay, now so let's say, so we are a developer, okay, can we able to access all the other tables? Now you can see, so employee table information, right? So this, select star from EMP, can you able to access? No, why? We didn't give an access to this developer for this particular table, right? And we didn't give an access to for this developer to access this particular, so this schema is there, database is there, okay, database they can able to access another table, right? That's why they cannot able to see the data here, right? Okay, so now let's come to this, how many schemas we have. We have another schema called retention, right? Let's try to connect it to the retention schema here, the developer. Now observe this, can you able to see the retention schema here? See this, observe this carefully. You are not getting it here because we didn't give an access to this particular developer role for this particular schema, right? This is, so role based access control, we used to call it as a RBAC, role based access control. Just we are controlling, so based on role based access control. This is all the, so how we can able to restrict the data, how we can able to restrict the specific roles, how we can able to restrict the specific user. We will apply to the role first, we will apply to the role, that role can be assigned to the user. So why we are applying to the role, why we cannot directly apply to the users? For example, the roles will be different, right? N number of persons will have the same roles, right? In that case, so no need to give the same thing for the different so users. Instead of that, suppose in these roles, for example, assume that developer role. So we have in a team, so 5 members developers is available. Then no need to give separately for the each and every 5 different developers, right? All are developer. So then, so we can apply this, the role, the specific roles, whatever the permission you have given, these roles to the specific users, right? Then no need to give access to separately each and every developer. So 5 developers means 5 different users will be there. So 5 users, no need to give all these things separately. No need to give all these things. If you give it for the roles, this particular role you can assign to the specific user. That's it, right? That's why we are applying the, so conditions for the roles. So grant permissions. So we are applying for the role to the user. So this role to grant to the warehouse, that role grant to the database and schema, and then table, right? Then they can able to so access that. That role finally we are assigning to the specific user, right? So then, so these things will be so applied. This is important. And so based on the role, we are creating data masking policy also, who can able to see the data. Okay, so these are the informations what we have so discussed here. Any questions here? We'll send this information. Next we'll go with pricing model. That is a different concept.
Sir,
Yeah.
are
Yes,
these
yes.
this business analyst,
Mm,
developer are
mm.
predefined roles, or
No, no,
it
we
can be?
created, we created this. You can give any name here. Now if
But
you observe
how
here,
does that role, like, what are the privileges, like, the
mm,
role has?
see this, the role has the privileges, whatever the role we created here, right? See
Yeah.
this analyst, business, and then developer. That privileges we are mentioning here for the user. See this one. The privileges means grant. So usage to the business. Compute warehouse they can use. The database utilization. The database privileges. Schema privileges. And then
Okay.
so this particular so what they can able to perform here. Right. So based
Okay.
on that we are going to implement it here. So then
Okay.
only they can able to so get the access, right? And then
Okay.
based on that, they can able to perform the things on that specific table on the database only.
Okay.
And the specifically these roles, right? Whatever you are creating here, these roles by default, the something like a account admin, so they cannot able to do that. Like so basic privileges, this will have. Like suppose if this role, if you want to create like a data masking policy, that is not possible, because those things can be done only by super user role only. Other than this account admin, remaining things, so all these are the basic privileges only. It will be like that.
Okay.
You can see other question here. Hmm. So now can you explain the scenario? Okay. So this one's related to, right? So when you are accessing, so any data, you can see the example here, right? So if you want to access, for example, in an organization, you will have a number of users will be there. So every user we cannot give access. Suppose developers, we don't want to see the information in the table. Then we will give the so data masking policy. And then based on the specific roles. Suppose the admin or business user, they want to see the data. Then it can be applied to the roles. Yeah. Any other questions?
Sir, I have a question. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I was asking, like,
Mm,
for example, you said Snowflake 5, the user can grant
mm,
um, permission to other users who are going to use the same account, right? So
mm.
suppose if
Same
there's
account.
another, yeah,
Mm, mm,
like once you did another made another user ID like Snowflake test.
mm-hmm.
So can you grant access to the other user
Yeah,
ID?
we can give the access to the other user also. See this one. So here we have a option called so grant access to. See this one. See this one, grant role. So this particular the role to the user, right?
Uh-huh.
This one if you give, then only they can able to access.
Okay.
Otherwise it is not possible. So how many users you are having? Suppose like different in a one account, as you said, in a account you will have 10 members are working, right? 10 developers are working, each and every developer. So we have to give this role access, then only they can able to access, otherwise no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, can see Pujita questions related to tables in permanent tables. Can we give retention period 1 day? And also, what the use of transient table? Yeah, this is the main intention behind the permanent tables is so transient tables. Both you can give retention period 1 day. Default, that is a default one. But what is the main purpose of the permanent tables is permanent tables will have after 1 day retention period. Permanent tables will have default 7 days fail safe period. These 7 days fail-safe option will not be available for transient or temporary. That is the main difference. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, guys. So if you don't have, so we'll connect. So next class. Thank you. Please practice this. I will send this to you. Thank you all. Bye. Mm, correct, Lakshmi. There is no data masking for admin role. They can able to see everything. So that is a who can consider as a super user. What about passwords? Mm. It means password means we can able to see the complete information. So as a account admin, you are going to create a password, right? So you will have all the permissions. When you created a user, you can define the password also for other users. So you will have a permission. You will have the rights to change the passwords also. Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.